ACCUSTATS Video Productions presents MPBA World Class 9-Ball. Well, we're still in Norfolk, Virginia, and this is still the U.S. Open, the 14th annual U.S. Open, and the way this tournament is unfolding, okay, it's quite interesting because we now have the opportunity to watch possibly two of the finest players in the world today, and certainly these two players are performing as well as anyone in the tournament at present. Steve Mizerak is playing Kim Davenport. Now, Steve Mizerak played Sammy Jones and beat Sammy Jones 11 games to 0. Sammy only had 2 shots the entire course of the match. Kim Davenport has just played Keith McCready, defeating Keith McCready 11 games to 4 in fashionable style, missing absolutely about 0 balls, making maybe 1 unforced error in the entire match. Now, my partner here, my special guest, is no one other than the great Professor Grady Mathews. Grady, how do you see this match coming down?
Well, thanks first for the glowing accolades, as always. I see this as an historic match. Miserak, the pinpoint position player, I forget the word I'm searching for, a great safety player, and Kim, everything offensive in the game. I think we're going to see a terrific contest.
Well, I think that this match is going to be extremely exciting and very, very close. Kim Davenport is at the top of his game. I mean, really, at the top of his game. Just defeating Nick Varner in a tournament just played prior to this tournament. Has all the confidence in the world in his ability, and I think we're going to see him play almost a flawless performance.
And Miserak, of course, a 6-time straight pool champion of the world. Many runs of over 300 and 400 balls, and I think we're going to see a great position strategy on his part. Actually, he got a little lucky. He didn't mean to pocket the 6. He was playing a safety. And as we've talked about so many times in the past, the first game often sets the tone for the match. Certainly, Steve was very fortunate on his first attempt.
He certainly was, Grady. He played safe on that particular shot, and he locked in the 7-ball in the side pocket as he was playing the safety. Now, if the 7-ball wouldn't have went in the side pocket, Kim Davenport would have had the first opportunity at the table with an open shot. But that's not what happened. Steve Mizerak locked in the 7-ball in the side pocket, and now the first opportunity of the match goes to Steve Mizerak, and it looks like he's going to make good of it, Grady.
Yes, he is. And again, we can never overstress the value of the properly shaped head, which is another philosophical story to be taken up any late evening.
Well, we just witnessed Kim Davenport playing Keith McCready. Remarkable performance. Both players, as you well know one another very well, and they both felt comfortable playing out there with one another. But Kim Davenport certainly was the superior player at the table.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk by past commentators about massive upsets and big underdog. I don't like that kind of conversation, Billy. Isn't it a fact that any of the top 40 or so players in the world, were they to defeat any other player, could it not accurately be said that that would not be a massive upset?
Well, no, it wouldn't be a massive upset considering the two players we were talking about, that being Kim Davenport and Keith McCready. But I don't believe what you're saying is accurate. I don't believe that any of the top 40 players in the world can defeat any of the other players. I just don't believe that, you know. I mean, I think on a given day it's possible, but not on any consistent basis at all. I don't think it's possible for a player like, for instance, myself to beat a player like Mike Steele or Kim Davenport or someone like that, you know.
That is the most ridiculous utterance to ever protrude from your lips. I laid you 100 to 1 you wouldn't finish in the top 3 a few months ago, and do you recall how handily you dispatched your upcoming opponents? To my utter chagrin, I finally settled out of court.
That's true. And well, you do make a lot of foolish moves in your life, and that was one of them, and I just happened to been there to cash in on it. But in the meantime, Mizerak seems to take advantage of the opportunities given to him so far early in the match, and he's cashed in on his first opportunity.
Matter of fact, Bill, we saw 2 of the 16 seeded players fall to unknown players on the opening day of play. But at any rate, I'm sure that these 2 players are not in awe of the other. I think we're in for a spectacular match, possibly historic in nature.
Kim Davenport's at the top of his game, as I mentioned before. I look for Kim Davenport to be the victor in this match. And Steve Mizerak lucked in the 7-ball in the side pocket in the first game of the match, taking advantage of the opportunity given to him. Now in the second game,
Well,
Steve
Kim just
Mizerak.
he played a great safety, Billy. I'm very impressed with how crisply and analytically Kim is handling his safety play. He seems to be hitting the balls on the proper side. He's doing the high percentage things that make tournament winners. And let's see if Steve Mizerak can adapt and possibly adjust to that.
Well, Kim Davenport certainly has added the great safety play into his game, and that's something that he was lacking a little while ago. And considering all the other offensive abilities that he has and all offensive weapons that he has, with the addition to his great safety play now, will certainly make him a threat to win any tournament he's in.
Do you think that my head, fitting exactly the outline of the Neanderthal man, is an asset or a liability at 9-ball?
Well, I definitely think that I didn't quite understand that, if you want me to tell you the truth.
Well, let's pass it up and watch Kim run out methodically.
I don't believe the 3-ball can pass by the 4. If it can, there's no problem with this particular rack. But if the 3 cannot pass the 4, I think we're going to see a little problem here, unless he can draw straight back and play the 3 in the right-hand corner.
He's taken a little longer shot, but made sure that he does, in fact, have a pocket to shoot the 3-ball in. And you'll have to pardon my finishing certain sentences with prepositions. That's unavoidable in this particular sport.
Okay, now the 6 and 9 are the 2 balls located in the bottom portion of the screen. They're tied up. Whether or not the 6 can pass the 9, I can't tell. I don't believe that it can, okay? And that certainly is going to create a problem for this particular rack. Now, Kim Davenport has just missed a 3-ball in the corner pocket, leaving Steve Mizerak kind of a testy shot on the 3.
Let's converse with aspiring players momentarily, Billy. All great players formulate a game plan according to the lie of the balls. I think what we're going to see Steve do here is pocket the 3, then the 4, then the 5, and I think we're going to see Kim go to the 9-ball city jail.
Well, that's certainly an option that Steve has after pocketing the 3. He can pocket the 4 and 5, then lock him up. But I believe that Steve is going to go to the offense there. He's going to play position on the 5 to break open the 6-9. Now, if he fails to do that, I think that he'll probably do something like play a safety and leave him distance.
Well, that's exactly what I surmise. Steve, being a great straight pool player, dreads hitting object balls. Well, once again, you're right, and that in itself is somewhat disgusting. You don't know what that takes out of me to admit that you're right. It just kills me.
Well, in the meantime, Steve Mizerak...
Meanwhile, he's going to do what I suggested, I think.
He tried to play position for the 6-ball in the other side pocket, it looked like, from here. And if he didn't gain that position, he probably would have played safety. He really doesn't have an easy safety right here, Grady.
No, he doesn't. Certainly, he's going to try to obtain distance between the 6-ball and the cue ball. He may be looking at the 6 off of the 9 in the far left-hand corner pocket.
Yeah, he may be, but I don't think he's going to give it much thought. Well, I don't believe he has really an easy safety here, and I have to make Kim Davenport a favor to win this game at this point.
Well, certainly it would be hard to fault your odds-making given past history. Nevertheless, I think Steve will do something common sense and intelligent.
Well, he elected, Grady, to pocket the 6-ball cleanly past the 9 into the corner pocket. He struck it extremely well and pocketed the ball, landing an ideal position for the 7 to get down table for the 9. I think that was a very, very, very excellently executed shot.
No question about it. And right there, he showed us why perhaps he's the greatest straight pool player of all time. And while we're on the subject, I'm often asked who's the greatest straight pool player of all time. And not to take anything away from the old timers, they played often in world-class events against only one opponent or in a 4-man round robin. Miserak, the 6-time straight pool champion of the world, I think he's got 350 and outs in tournament play, and all the major events straight pool in this day and age are with 40 or 50 guys can run 100 balls, and he's certainly deserving possibly of the term best straight pool player of all time.
Well, it's very possible that he could very well be one of the best straight pool players of all time, or for that matter, maybe the best straight pool player of all time. But that's saying an awful lot, you know. You take into consideration players like Willie Mosconi, Irving Crane. I mean, and so many. What are the players that come out of the New York area? The older players.
Well,
Jimmy
Alan,
Karras.
oh, you mean from the old school?
Sure, that's what we're talking
Well, there
about
was
of all
Irwin.
time. We're talking about of all time.
There was a guy who fits your mold perfectly. There was Erwin Rudolph, who won the world championship with a high run of 14. But when he played you safe, you were behind 18 balls.
Okay, with that comment, I think I'm going to have to leave the booth momentarily, but my good friend Sammy Jones will take over while I'm gone. And you two fellas seem to work very well together.
We do indeed, and your absence should make this commentary quite noteworthy. And Steve squatted the cue ball in the middle of the table on the last break, Sammy, and I think that might bode well for him in the remainder of this match. And now he's got a rather simple 4-9 combination. And you remember what we talked about earlier, how the first game oftentimes sets the tone for the match. Kim really hasn't made any bad shots here, but Steve ratted the ball in the first game. And he's off to a 3-0 lead, and for Kim, I think we're still going to see him get back in this match. He's been playing so well lately. I know that he's got the thought in his mind that should he be able to come to the table, he's going to put a 3 or 4 rack package together.
Well, he's always got that in mind. You know, Kim, he never gives up, and he's got the powerful break. He's always capable of coming from behind no matter what the score might be. But that goes back to one of the things that you've discussed so often is about the guy might play perfectly and still be not on the winner's side.
Oh, that happens a lot, and that is something, as you know, that I hope to see changed in the near future. I think that's holding the sport back. This could be made such a game of innate grace, true beauty. The cumulative skills of the modern-day professional player border on the phenomenal, and I would love to see this game accurately presented and formatted. I just would love to see it. What we've got now is a big crapshoot, plain and simple, and as a purist, it saddens me.
Well, that's true to some of the players, you know, like, of course, yourself, you like to not have any type of luck involved in the game, but myself, personally, I think that a lot of the people out there think that that's part of the excitement of 9-ball. The balls roll around the table, and the balls a lot of times dictate what happens to you instead of you dictating what happens to the balls.
But it's a little bit ridiculous, Sammy. Imagine, if you will, the hypothetical circumstances where the PGA says, hey, this is a little too tough. Let's make it easier for the amateurs and sprinkle 5 extra holes around so in case they hit it badly, they can get next to one of the extra holes. And then 7,000 yards, that's ridiculous. Let's make it 3,000 yards. And then to put icing on the cake, let's make it a race to 11 holes. Why, it's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard.
I have no recourse to your answer at that point. I just know that we can look at the straight pool tournaments that we have, and we can compare them to the entries of the 9-ball tournaments. If you have entry fees more than 32 in the straight pool tournaments, you're amazed. And when 9-ball, the last tournament in Memphis, we had 135 entries, and we turned 20-some away. So,
well, 9-ball is not a bad game. I'm not arguing that, and I'll get out of political infighting momentarily. But I do want to say that it could be such a beautiful game with skillful rules and formatting. That doesn't mean that the game would not be a lot of fun to watch. You're still going to have a huge luck factor. A guy gets straight in the side when he tried to get straight in the corner. The audience claps. He makes it on the break the next time. There's going to be a lot of lucky safeties when a guy misses a ball 3 feet. I particularly love that kind of situation. That's neither here or there, as Kim Davenport threatens to narrow the gap to 1 game to 3.
he doesn't want to get straight on this 8-ball, I know that.
I mean, let me rephrase this and I'll get off the subject. Ronnie Allen lost a 9-ball match to a housewife, been playing 3 days. Now, I got nothing else to say about it. That was a short match, 3 out of 5, and Ronnie hung up to 9 twice, and she made it on the break once. The audience went nuts as usual.
Well,
But we are, Sammy, we're getting more sophisticated audiences. You notice how they love the jump shot. They love a good kick shot, a good safety play.
They love anything that brings excitement to the game, whatever it might be. It's just something that's new. It's like a new club in golf or something. When the sand trap was invented and they brought a sand club in or a sand wedge in that gave loft to the ball quicker than one of the other irons may have.
And Kim gesturing there, wondering why the audience didn't applaud a pretty nice little run out. And some of these audiences are pool tough. They're hardened to the intricacies of the sport, and you really got to make a run out with about 6 trick shots in it to get the slightest semblance of a hand.
Well, the largest applause usually come from when the 9 goes on the break.
That's true, and that again a living testimonial to some of the faults of the sport in my estimation, but again that's another story.
Kim has looked at this rack here. He's sent 8 balls below the side pocket and nothing went. So that point looks. I think the match looks like it might be going in Mizerak's direction here.
Well, certainly the early part of this match lends credence to your theory, Sammy. Kim not seeming to play with the utter abandon and confidence he has displayed so often of late.
Well, Steve's been playing well here the whole tournament. He hasn't missed 2 or 3 balls that I've watched in any of his 3 matches. He played perfectly against Mr. Howard Vickery in his last match, and he defeated his previous 2 opponents 11-0 and 11-3. So
I've got to say at this juncture, Sammy, though, if Steve had not lucked that ball in the side pocket, the score in all probability would be 2 apiece, plus Kim would have had an additional break. So this game's certainly subject to the foibles of Lady Luck.
There's no question about it. Like again, the balls dictate what happens to you instead of you happening to the balls in a lot of cases.
Now, you remember that ball I lucked in back in 1968? I mean, that has stayed in my memory incessantly. I have nightmares about it.
I can remember one incident in Las Vegas where you lucked a 2-ball in this last World Tournament we had in that World Open at Caesar's Palace, and I looked at you and I said, well, Grady, I says, that was the first one since '68.
That's true, but not to be outdone, my erstwhile opponent rapidly lucked in 3 consecutive balls, each more interesting than his predecessor. But you know, you can take a lot of things from this great sport of pocket billiards and translate them into everyday life. I really believe that. And the guys are dedicated and relentless, methodical in their approach to this very difficult pursuit. They seem to have that in their everyday life as well.
That's very true. We're looking at the match here. Steve has gotten a tough angle at this 7-ball here.
I mean, let's take a guy like Keith McCready, Sammy. Look at the way he plays pool. You think he's a terrible driver? The chance exists.
Wild and reckless.
He's going to go rail first here, and this is a little touchy. If he hits it with draw, he doesn't have to get a shot with on the 8-ball. I don't know if we're going to see him try to go 3 cushions out of there or not, Sammy. That could be a little touchy, too. It's possible to follow it in, possible to jiggle the 7-ball. What do you think he's going to do with this?
Well, what they're doing right now, I think they're awaiting a referee to call this particular shot to see whether or not he hits the 8-ball going in. If he can shoot this shot, I think he's going to lag it easily so he'll have a shot for the 8-ball in this opposite end there. I don't think he'll be doing any drawing the ball at this point.
They've called Barry Berman, noted acumen, infamous entrepreneur, and pool promoter extraordinaire, over to call the shot. And as it occurred, there was no problem as Steve struck the shot very softly, and it was obvious he did, in fact, make a good hit on the 7-ball.
He's pocketed the 8-ball perfectly. Didn't hit a rail going in, nor did the 9 to take a commanding lead at 4-1.
And for Kim, he really hasn't done much of anything wrong. Now, one thing you have to watch in the playing of these matches, if you do get a couple of bad rolls, a very bad habit to get into is rehearsing the story you're going to tell about why you lost the match. That's negativism at its worst, and I don't think Kim is thinking that. He's thinking this guy better not let me up to the table with a good shot. And Steve has outbroke Kim so far, and that could very possibly be the difference in the match. And the big guy has always had a good break, maybe a little bit underrated in that department.
He has a terrific break. He has the ability to use the very long bridge and hit the ball square almost at will.
Do you think 300 pounds of man behind that cue stick has anything to do with that good break?
Well, I don't know whether it does or not. I guess power could have, but some of the lesser players or lesser weight players, for instance, Mike Siegel, I consider to have one of the very best breaks, and he probably weighs about 110.
Now, I jest not. Steve Mizerak's favorite pastime is harness horse racing.
That's very true. He and George Steinbrenner a couple times a year do a charity event in the Meadowlands in New Jersey for him. I forget which one of the charities it is. They they ride the chariot races.
Well, what do they do when Steve rides a harness horse? Do they add weight to the other drivers' carriages, or is it just an even Steven prop? I mean, what's the deal?
No, they hook a caravan of horses to his charge.
So I'm just kind of curious about that. But anyway, we're talking about championship pocket billiards, and we're going to see Kim make a rather methodical run out here, I think. He's confident. He's up at the table. He feels that he's playing as well or better than anybody in the world, and I think the results are self-evident.
Well, he probably is playing as good as anyone in the world right now. He's not missing balls. He's playing with a lot of confidence and poise, and each time he approaches the table, he feels like he's going to pocket the ball he's shooting at.
Kim all the way here from Modesto, California. That's where he calls home. And Kim's done rather well for himself. He's a hard worker, and he's always been willing to do what it takes to make a living.
I first met Kim in Houston, Texas, about 1980. At that time, I became very good friends with him, and he told me his worldly desire at that time was to become the greatest nine-ball player on earth.
Well, he's well on the path to that particular goal. And he had a wildness at the time you're talking about. That's completely vanished from his game.
Yes, it is. At that time, he was an accident looking for a place to happen in the pool table, and now he's become a position player. He kicks at the balls great. I mean, he's a great kicker. He does everything. Every part of the game is good at his right now.
Have you noticed how nice and quiet it is here in the booth without Mr. Cardone here to belabor the issues?
Well, my friend Billy has... Well, I can't talk about him. He's not here.
Oh, he likes that. He doesn't want us to say anything nice about him. It'd spoil his day. And we've got, what, a 3-2 match here, Sammy?
We have a 3-2 or 4-2 at this time. 4-2.
4-2. Well, many times, I know how I felt, and certainly a lot of these guys very possibly play better than I ever did. A two-game deficit is nothing. When you're up there at the table, you have the break and feel like you're really playing championship pocket billiards.
It really isn't. We've seen 6 and 7 game leads diminish at the stroke of a couple of shots.
And there was a time Detroit Whitey played in the ring game. This is a very short story. Anyway, he was ahead about 50 games, and his backer went to the bathroom for 6 minutes. Upon his return, Whitey informed him that those very lucky folks had just beaten him 18 in a row.
Well, we've ridded ourselves of the Detroit Whiteys of the modern-day pool era.
Well, we needed an injection of fresh new faces, and certainly we have that. I kind of miss the old days a little bit. I like the smoke-filled rooms and the late-night stories.
Some of the new pool rooms in New York that are coming up, some of the guys who, we're trying to get the new age, if you want to call that the new age of pool, where nothing is bad about it and the smoke is gone and all that. And a lot of those guys are saying that they don't want to get rid of all that because that would be like ridding yourself of part of your history.
Well, I agree with that in part. I like the idea that you can take your mother or your sister or your wife to a billiard room, but New York does have some beautiful places now. Heck, Sammy, I can remember when the customers were throwing bricks at the houseman.
That's very true, but you can go to a lot of things. Even not too many years ago, women couldn't even vote. So I guess it wasn't too bad that they couldn't go into a pool room.
And it's nice to see those delectable, delightful creatures adopting their rightful place in society. And I, for one, although I know I'm in the minority, believe that one day the women will excel in this sport, possibly outdoing their male counterparts.
Well, I certainly hope so, since I have one of the greatest players that ever played the game as far as a female. And I hope that someday she'll become good enough to beat the top male players.
I have to give Laura John credit, too. That's Sammy's wife. One of the best female players of all time, and certainly her deportment is a model of excellence. I like people who behave themselves. All of us hate to lose, but I like a good attitude, something that presents a nice image to the folks who come out and watch this great sport. And certainly she's a deserving champion, worthy of all the attention and notoriety she has received. And Kim, it looks like Sammy is going to narrow this gap to 3 games to 4.
Yes, it looks very much like that. He's at a perfect angle to follow the ball, either 2 rails and come at the ball, or he can come straight across the table.
I think, yeah. Now, he doesn't want to get straight in. I don't think he's got quite as much angle as he wanted.
No, he doesn't. He's shaking his head, and that's usually an indication that he doesn't have the shot perfectly the way he'd like to have it.
This isn't a hard shot for Kim Davenport, though.
He has an opportunity. He has 2 choices, I think. He can either draw this ball back, or he could sit there and bank this ball.
I think he's going to force it back very nicely. Warp speed has never been a problem for Kim Davenport.
That's very true. Oh.
He elected to draw at 3 cushions, certainly the crowd-pleasing choice.
He's a very exciting player to watch. He gives you a lot of things to look. He shoots a lot of. Matter of fact, we can talk about his combination play. It's flawless. He's able to hit such points on the object ball that he's shooting at that he's able to make combinations from 6 and 7 feet away on a high percentage of the time.
That's a good point, Sammy. And have you noticed how each one of these players is distinctive in his or her own right? They all have strengths and weaknesses, and you certainly pointed out one of the more dazzling assets to Kim Davenport's arsenal of offensive weapons.
He certainly has a lot of them. He hits center of the pocket with everything he hits. There's no rolling off to his shots.
And I think, all other things being equal, a guy that hits his shots with authority, and bear in mind I'm making a broad generalization, will defeat a man who bunts balls.
He will never let the table defeat him. You know, the equipment sometimes has its flaws as well as the players.
You know, you mentioned first meeting Kim. I first met him about 10 years ago. He came in my pool room, and I made the terrible mistake of spotting him the 7 ball, and he was nice enough to make my bank deposit a little bit lighter the next day.
He's been known to do that to several gentlemen around this country.
It's 4. Is it 4-3 or 4-4? We're so wrapped up in this awe-inspiring commentary that we omitted looking at the score. And our handsome, debonair, and ever-capable cohort, Mr. Incardona, has returned to the booth.
He can't stand it. It was the last time that he commentated a match with you and myself, he was humiliated. He said he had no time to commentate, that you and I had him trapped in the center, and we were both pulling against him.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. The man is an utter debacle, is he not? No, seriously, he's a great guy. We have a little fun kidding him and everything. But he's done a lot of fine things for the sport. And, you know, we've talked about things like this, Sammy. I always admired and respected guys who were willing to put their money where their mouth is, not just in playing, although that's nice too, but in areas of promotion and advertising, things of that sort. Billy Cardone, for an example, if a company, a big corporation, were to offer Sammy Jones a nice job and a PR capacity at $200,000 a year, and they called Bill Incardona for a reference, he would give you a handsome portfolio. I'm not so sure that that's the case all the time with some of our illustrious players from north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Well, he knows that he could get the same type of portfolio from me in case I was asked about him.
That's true, and we have a certain camaraderie among all. It's almost like a big family. Certainly there's a lot of friendship and everything. And being a pool player has its advantages. It also has its disadvantages. Nick momentarily jostling Kim, and Kim, ever professional, getting up from the shot like you see a lot of the modern-day golfers do. And certainly that's a wise thing to do. And old Kim Davenport perhaps would have been somewhat more disconcerted by such an action.
He's taken a lot more time on his shots, or a lot more precaution, you might want to call it, instead of time than he did years ago.
I like everything this young man is doing, Sammy, and that's why he's doing so well out here on the tour.
Obviously, he's one of the favorites in any tournament that he goes to, not only with the game itself, but the crowds. The crowds that he draws, they really like him. They root for him. He has fans wherever he goes.
Well, he's a hard guy not to like. He's popular, honest, nice-looking young man. Very difficult not to like a Kim Davenport. And the thing I like about him, too, you notice how all these great players, they leave him sit alone in the corner after hours. They don't ask him to play for money. That's almost suicidal.
That's very true. He's gotten himself in a position here that he's going to have to make a good speed shot here to get the position on this 3-ball in the side pocket.
I don't think he's going to have much problem with this other than possibly the reach. He's going to use a little high right English, ball first, and go 2 cushions. Now, he's got to be real careful not to hit rail first. The cue ball could hit the 9.
That's right. If he gets his rail first, this ball will come up and hit the 9 ball. He could snooker himself behind the 7.
Nice shot.
Once again, he's performed the shot perfectly.
And another thing I noticed, another of Kim's increasing strengths is the fact that he shoots all the balls with apparently the proper speed. He's no longer blasting balls unnecessarily, and that's helped him a lot.
Yes, it has. In previous years, he would occasionally shoot a ball too hard, and especially on a tight equipment, he would jar the pocket on a lot of the balls instead of stealing the ball from the pocket, shooting it at a proper speed.
Boy, he didn't get where he wanted here. The 7 ball is going to interfere with his stroke slightly, and I think we're going to see him hit this with a little authority and go all the way over to the side rail and back out. Nice shot. And that's the right way to play it. When you have a shot like that, Sammy, I think it helps to hit it with a little more authority.
Well, you eliminate the table beating you at that point. You give yourself a complete stroke on the shot, allowing you to shoot the ball more accurately than so if you would roll the ball.
And these tables are playing a little bit slow this week. I think that's to Kim Davenport's advantage because he's got that powerhouse, awesome stroke, and he can do just about it, whatever he wants to English-wise.
Well, obviously, this table benefits the big breaker, and of course, Kim has one of the biggest breaks in the game today.
Well, this so far as preordained an exciting close contest.
Table game number 8 goes to Mr. Davenport, now tying the match at 4-4.
And I think we're seeing a pretty well-played match here.
As you predicted, you felt that Kim would probably come back because he hadn't done anything wrong.
Well, I didn't like the way Steve hit that 1-ball shot he had. He struck it tentatively, not with authority, and the result is that we've now got a knotted contest.
These late-night matches kind of go against Steve's forte. He's a daytime person more so now than he ever was in the history of his pool game. He likes to play during the early parts of the day as opposed to the late at nights.
Do you feel that these pool players' stories in general are prone to excessive exaggeration?
Well, they've been known to pad the tab occasionally. There's so many stories. My wife was talking last night. She says, I keep hearing story, and they all vary in different ways and others. I says, well, if you were to get a politician on stand and have him to tell you a story that was told to him, you think it'd be any different?
Well, I've changed my viewpoint about pool players, Sammy. They no longer on the bottom of the economic scale or of society's ladder. Businessmen in general, politicians, as you mentioned, certainly, generally speaking, are guilty of things that no self-respecting pool player would dream of doing.
Steve has made a great shot here. He missed snookering him behind the 9-ball by about 1.5 inches. He tried to put the cue ball going rail first and putting the 1 in the center of the table and putting the cue ball behind the 9, and it just sneaked out about 1 inch.
He's looking at playing the 1 on the side off the 8. I don't think it'll quite go. I think he's going to study this and thin the 1 on the left side and put the cue ball over by the 2-ball, thus playing safe with the added shadow of the 5 and 7 ball. He has that to put the cue ball behind.
Well, he's got a lot of things to contend with if he tries to pocket this 1 ball in the side pocket. He's probably going to have to turn the cue ball loose, and we both know what happens in that pot.
Well, let's see. Here goes nothing. I think he's going to try the shot you suggested. No, he played a safety.
He played a great safety. He put the cue ball behind the 9.
But Steve has a keyhole.
Well, this is one of the shots that's 4-4, and you haven't been at the table for about 10 minutes. This is one of those shots that is easy for anyone to miss.
And let's talk about how hard it is to lag one in just a little bit harder than pocket speed when you're down in the match. It's very difficult.
It sure is. Like I said, that shot is so tough, especially when you haven't come to the table for about 5 minutes. As Kim kept him in the table for about at his chair for about 5 or 6 minutes, and you become very stiff at that time, and you would like to get ball in hand when you come to the table the next time.
Now, Steve hit that one ball on the professional side, missing it on the thick side, so that he had an excellent chance to snooker Kim, but I think he's left Kim the proverbial keyhole. Is this going to be hard enough? Yes. Now, he's going to have to come between the 5 and 7 here, if I'm not mistaken. A little bit of a touchy dilemma.
Possibly he could come in at that. He might come into one of these balls here. I don't think he will, but there's an option here. He could come into the 8 ball on this shot, but I think he'll come straight across the table.
I think right between the 5 and 7 is probably the proper shot.
Hoping not to get straight in.
Right. Nice shot, as forementioned. And the bane of every excellent pool player is straight in. A lot of times you cannot cheat the pocket, especially on tough equipment like this. It happens to be a little bit slow. And now I think we're going to see the infamous Kim Davenport long-distance draw shot.
I think he has no choice at this time. He's probably going to have to draw back to the end rail and out.
He may not do that here, Sammy. We may see him just get behind the 5, figuring that he can not have to hit the ball quite so hard. And he'll have a shot in the corner or the side pocket on the 5. He's looking at trying to get 10-point position. I don't like that. I think he should draw back behind the 5. Like that. I think that was his highest percentage position play. He's all right here. He is momentarily perplexed, but this isn't too difficult a shot. Not for a great shot maker like Kim. Oh, did he miss the ball?
He missed the ball, yeah.
I thought he made that.
No, the pocket took the ball away from him. He hit the ball just a little bit on the inside, and it rattled the pocket. Of course, he has a safety. Mr. Miserak is snookered behind 2 balls. He's going to have to go rail first, looks like, on this shot.
And I'm surprised at that because he missed that ball on the overcut side of it. And as talked about on some previous commentaries, Kim well acquainted with the physical fact that on that type of shot you need to aim a little bit thicker.
Steve has hit this ball funny. He's on the rail again. He's finding himself with a very tough shot. Again, one that anyone might miss. And this, he hit it perfectly. Nice shot.
The big man is playing with a nice touch here tonight. His position seems to be hand-picked. I like the way he's finessing the cue ball around the table.
Well, he's not jumping around or anything. He's playing with a lot of confidence himself right now. I talked to Steve a couple of weeks ago. He feels that his game is probably within a few percent of the best he's ever played in his life.
Well, I don't agree with his assessment. I think he's playing as well or better than he ever has. And his tournament standings this year, 1989, attest to that fact.
That's very true. It's been some time since he's won a major tournament in 9-ball.
Well, Steve, if you had to pick one possible weakness, it could possibly be his inability to play long periods of time. Now, in major events, if you get on the loser side, you got to play a lot of matches, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 in one day, and that's kind of telling for a man of Steve's dimensions and breadth.
Yes, it is. He's taking the lead here on the 9th game. He's now leading 5-4 over Mr. Davenport. And Kim will hopefully put that 3 behind him and look at the next 6 games in this match so that he doesn't let that or doesn't dwell on that particular shot, because if you do that, the next time you look up, you'll be 5 or 6 games behind. We're talking about breaks. Steve has one of the best breaks of all times again in this 9-ball.
Have you noticed that Steve has squatted Whitey roughly in the middle of the table on each of his successive breaks?
Yes, he has. It's four times out of 5 breaks that he's hit the ball and didn't move 6 inches from the left of center or right of center.
You got to give the big guy credit. He's really performing well. Nice touch. What a touch for a big man.
He knows all parts of the game as well as anyone who ever played the game. There's no question about that. He does everything. The only thing that he doesn't have as good as some of them is, you might say, he doesn't have the stamina to stay there and play for long periods of time.
Makes you wonder if a guy like the Fridge might be a great quarterback.
You have to remember too many plays. For the Fridge to be a good quarterback, he'd have to be able to remember too many plays.
Sammy, you're brutal. You have always told it like it is, regardless of, of how it may come out. And I'm beginning to sense why our colleague has departed the scene.
Well, Steve must have a little tougher shot than it looks like from up here.
He doesn't have a good angle to get on the 4. That's the problem.
What if he draws the ball back to the end rail? Do you think that's a possibility here?
I think we're going to see a 3 in the corner and a bank on the 4. Oh, he had a nice angle to force that. Although he's gotten an incredibly difficult shot.
He sure does. I thought maybe we might see one of Steve's big draw strokes. You know, he's able to draw the ball from angles that are unbelievable at times. He can cut that angle down, shooting the ball into with the English. It's amazing sometimes what he can do with drawing a ball.
What do you do with this, Sammy? You go back and forth across the table, making the percentage of pocketing the 4 somewhat higher, or do you go for the low outside English and get perfect position on the 5, but lessen your possibility of pocketing the 4 ball?
I think Steve probably at this time will hit this ball with speed. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to go ahead and shoot the ball to draw it and possibly get the cue ball down but where the 9 ball is.
Incidentally, one of the great attributes of all the great players is the ability to adapt their game to how they feel. How are they playing? In other words, if a great player feels that he's performing truly capably, he might attempt more difficult shots.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has just hit a ball absolutely as good as it could possibly be hit at that time. He drew the ball with authority, came 2 rails back across, perfect on the 5 ball.
This is a touchy little shot too, Sammy. He doesn't want to get straight in on the 7. Doesn't want to risk getting close. Oh, I don't like what he did there.
Well, he chose to hit the ball high, and all throughout this week we've seen the balls that hit with high English, the ball kind of dies off of the rail, and I didn't think Mr. Mizerak would do that. I thought he would probably power that ball back to the center of the table. He's left himself in a very difficult position here. He really doesn't have a shot on this ball. I don't think the bank is.
Oh, he's got a bank. He can hit it with high inside English, I think. Now, whether he'll do that or elect to play safe, I don't know.
He's not going to go up in the air. Steve's going to take the high percentage shot, leaving his opponent with a long, tough shot, stiff at the table. Kim hasn't been at the table for a few minutes, so he's going to be tight at this point also. I hope he's not thinking about that 3 he's missed. I believe Kim's probably going to shoot this ball in the corner pocket.
I don't think so. I think he'll knock the 7 down to the other end rail. I think he can do that roughly 90% of the time. Trying to pocket the ball in the corner, this has got to be a rough 1/3 success ratio.
I think you'll see Kim cut this ball in the corner pocket, because if he makes this ball, it's like game ball right here. You have to shoot at this ball.
Boy, I'd be trembling if I had to shoot a shot with this degree of difficulty. But it's nothing for Kim Davenport. Nice effort.
He's made a great shot. Again, like I say, Kim has a lot of arsenal in his package. He does everything well. He cuts balls. He makes tough shots. He's got everything going for him. And that was one of the most difficult shots behind trailing 5-4 at this time. Like I say, you know, he took a shot at he had the opportunity to play safe at that time, but it's going to be difficult to beat Steve Mizerak playing safe. You've got to shoot him down. Great out by Mr. Davenport to tie this match up at 5-5. If you will, take a couple of seconds here to analyze Mr. Davenport's break.
Well, you might be asking the wrong guy about that, Sammy. I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as perhaps I should be about the break. I've never liked the fact that one of the great features of 9-ball is that you haul off and knock the hell out of the balls trying to rat something in the first shot. So I'm not the best guy to ask about that.
Oh, he's hit the balls square again. When he has a long bridge, he hits between, I'd say, 20 inches on the end of his stick is showing when he lets go of that particular break.
And as we've talked about before so many times in the past, the long bridge more conducive to great shot making, the short nippy bridge better for good position play.
Exactly.
You know, we've got some guys out here, Sammy, whose strokes look terrible. Alan Hopkins, Danny DiLiberto, me. And then you've got those guys with those big, free, easy-flowing strokes like Kim Davenport, Earl Strickland, Efren Reyes. And it's hard to say what's absolutely best.
The last few tournaments I've watched Earl, he's done something. He's altered his stroke considerably from what it used to be. He's now choking up on the butt of the cue to where he holds the cue almost above the wrap. And I've never known him to do that before. And I questioned him about it, and he said he said it wasn't the change of his stroke that's causing him to play bad. It's the equipment.
Well, I don't know that I agree with that explanation. I like the fact that the equipment's not the same at every tournament. I think it should be like the golf, where you have different length grasses, different length courses, narrow fairways on some, big ones on the other ones, small greens, big greens. I think this sport should be played on different kinds of equipment. Like, for an example, Sammy, suppose that you're a terrific Simonis cloth player. Should you be denied the privilege to ever play on Simonis cloth? And so on and so on.
No, I don't. I think you're exactly right. I think that's what makes the game exciting again. We've got so many different variables in it that it makes a chance for a lot of different players to do well in these tournaments.
Well, sure. Some guys excel on particular kinds of equipment.
Speaking of equipment, this type of equipment certainly suits the guys like Mizerak, the Buddy Halls, the Kim Davenports, the guys who have the big break.
Sammy, correct me if I'm wrong. The way I assess this match to this point, this is a Steve Mizerak-paced match. Kim is really kind of playing Steve's game.
He certainly is. Steve, again, as we look at it, he's playing with extreme confidence. He's not missed but one ball in this 10-game match at this time, and it wasn't a shot that was considerably missed a lot of or easy amount of time. He was sitting at the table for about 5 minutes and had to lag the ball end to end to cut the ball backwards. Mr. Mizerak has taken a 6-5 lead in this game. Now let's analyze Mr. Mizerak's break at this point, Grady.
Well, I don't know what we can say about his break. He squatted the cue ball in the middle of the table almost every single time. I wish that I could break like that.
He seems to have found a soft spot here, or a sweet spot, if you will.
There it is again. Look at that, Sammy.
He's almost playing position in this point. He's made the corner ball a number of times.
Well, these great players do that, don't they? They play position on the break, and certainly that lends itself to the running of a lot of balls, a lot of racks, and that translates to match and tournament victories.
It certainly does, because in this day and time, to win a 9-ball match, you can't count by one. You must count by 2s and 3s to beat these great players out there today.
I like the relentless pursuit of perfection by these players, too, and in fact, there have been some perfect matches. 2 times 1,000 in the Accu-Stats has been shot, once by Billy Johnson, where he also ran 9 racks in the finals, and once by Alan Hopkins, where his opponent failed to pocket a single ball. And also, if somebody runs 150 and out, which has been done 7 or 8 times, certainly that could be interpreted as perfection.
Yeah, the last tournament I watched, the Jim Rimpey won in Cleveland, Ohio. He ran 150 and out, which he got a standing ovation at that time. I watched a couple of matches where there was only one mistake made at the beginning of the game, and the person ran 148 and out on Mr. Mike Zuglin, or 146 and out.
And that was on 4-inch pockets. That is an extraordinary feat.
I couldn't believe it. The high run of that particular tournament was 74. I think you had that at that time, and the next thing we looked around, the tables were so tight. And I said, I almost bet that no one would run 100 balls, and I looked up and Mike Zuglin ran 146. I could not believe it.
It's almost a shame he didn't have a few more balls where he could have got 150.
Yeah, he was at an open rack at that time. He would have certainly run 150 if there were 150 to be run.
And Steve has snookered Kim, a pretty fortuitous turn of events for the big man. And we're going to see the Kim Davenport jump shot forthwith. Well, he hit it pretty well. He's got a chance to get a leave here. No, the one snuck out of there.
Well, he made a gallant try. Again, Kim's playing, like you said, he's playing Mizerak's game right now. It looks like it's pretty much controlled at this point, even though the score doesn't show it. It is only 6-5, but at this point in time, it looks like Mr. Mizerak is a little bit finer player at this point.
Well, I think possibly the biggest key to the score being what it presently is Steve's great breaking statistics in this match. I think he's pocketed the ball every time except once and stopped the cue ball roughly in the middle of the table every single time.
Well, he's going to attempt a 3-ball combination here, it looks like. The 7-ball was off of 9. And again, he has a road map to victory. This is commonly known as a Cosmo.
Or a Shirley Temple. Cosmo, interestingly enough for pool fans, Cosmo was a guy, I'll see if I can imitate him a little bit, run hundreds, 5x10, hundreds. And he did. He ran hundreds on the 5x10. He did a very nice exhibition, and he was a very funny human being. He used to do his exhibitions, and he said, I applied for a job to a radio station. They said I was too short. I mean, the man was a lunatic. No, he was really a fine player.
Speaking of exhibitions, have you ever been around a guy that travels around? His name is Tom Rossman. Have you ever met the gentleman?
Yes, and I have been given to understand that his exhibitions are really insightful and exciting.
They really are. I was able to witness him this year at the trade show in Nashville, and he was just really funny. He has costumes and everything to go along with his trick shots. He dresses up like a knight, and he shoots with one hand. He runs at the ball and stabs it. He does a lot of things that make the game exciting.
And why not, Sammy? You know, most of these pool players are consummate actors. At one time, when pool hustling was an accepted way of life, they were good liars. Certainly they're seasoned travelers.
Well, we're watching Mr. Miserak here as he takes a commanding lead at 7-5.
I mean, I'm not doing this commentary to speak about such matters, but let's face facts, Sammy. I've been a hairdresser, a mechanic, a real estate salesman. I even played a gay dancer in one noteworthy situation.
I didn't know you was a hairdresser. That was my thing. I was hairdressers in 1975. From 1975 to 1980, I quit playing pool to become a hairdresser.
Well, one of the advantages I always had in hustling pool was the fact that I looked like a bumbling idiot, not a pool player. And Steve has, what, a 7-5 game lead?
7-5 lead at this time, and he's failed to pocket the ball 2 times in a row, so Kim evidently has found a spot where he's not letting Steve make balls on the break. His last 2 times at the post.
Oh, I think Kim's giving him a good rack. Kim is a gentleman to play with. The last 2 times up, Steve has struck the ball not quite as hard as he did earlier in the match, and a lot of times you need that little bit of extra force to get balls up to the pocket.
Do you have any suggestions for the young players out there listening to this, things to do when you're jacked up on the ball? What type of English do you use? English? Do you try to hit the ball centered if you have only the top of the ball that you can hit?
Well, when you have only the top of the ball to work with, it's very difficult to apply English, and you don't end up, in fact, getting any on it. The right way is to use no English. You stay down on the ball, follow through, and when the match is over, if you've acclimated yourself to playing pool for a living, get ready to face a life of deprivation and need.
Well,
no,
Kim,
all joking aside, wouldn't you like to be 20 years old taking up this great sport right now? I think there's going to be a lot of money in it in the near future.
I agree with you. As one said this afternoon, a friend of mine, Mr. George Dowdy, who's one of the great promoters of the sport of pocket billiards today, he was talking about players and, well, I know it's going to get better. He said, I just don't think I'm going to see that particular time.
I think we'll all see it, but of course you and I and George will be too old to pocket a ball, and we'll have to relegate ourselves to the ranks of sweating. Sweating, of course, terminology for watching the pool matches. And I'm glad you made reference to George. Isn't that a wonderful tournament that he hosts every year? in the great city of Charlotte.
It certainly is, and we need about 10,000 gentlemen like Mr. George Dowdy to promote this sport, and then we have no more problems.
George, in fact, has a blank check made out to me for in case I come through town and need a little something. Isn't that a nice gesture? Of course, his wife doesn't know about it. He may be up for divorce. No, I'm just joking. George, a fine gentleman.
Well, looking at this match now, we've got Kim. He seems to be a bit punchy at this time. He snookered himself on the 3-ball. I don't know what he's going to do from here.
He's looking at the possibility of shortening this ball up, but the 4-ball presents an imposing obstacle.
And all during this week, we haven't seen that ball shorten up. It's lengthened at this particular shot.
Yes, it has, and that's because of the new cloth, Sammy.
He's left himself in a terrible position on this ball.
Now, if he can, in fact, circumvent the 4-ball, he may hit the outside edge of the 3, going 2 cushions, like so, and actually obtain an excellent safety.
What a great shot he just made under these conditions, trailing 7-5. He's faced behind the ball at the end of the table, and now he's snookered his opponent.
I don't think Steve
shot.
snookered. I think he can see the edge of this ball. He's going to have to thin this ball, a tough shot, and go up and down the table, maybe even into the 5-ball. I think that would probably be the right shot.
He could get unlucky and kiss off his 5 and scratch in the side pocket also. Oh.
Actually, he went into the 8-ball, made a very nice shot.
Very
Kim a little bit unlucky there. I thought he made a great 2-rail kick, and he could easily have gotten a better lead than that.
It's very difficult to see exactly where the ball lays from up here in the booth, and it looked from this angle, it looked like Steve couldn't hit the ball, but he hit it perfectly and got perfect position on the 4-ball.
Now, that's not what he wanted to do. He
Wow.
came out pretty well
He
there.
was trying to move that 9 out of the way of the 7, I believe, on that shot, Grady. The 7-ball has an obstructed pocket there with the 9 in the way. The 7 may be a little bit below the side pocket, making it difficult to get back to the 8-ball.
Well, he's all right here now, though, Sam. He's gotten good position on the 5 in the side pocket, and the 7 will go in the opposite side pocket. I don't think he's going to have much problem here.
He needs to keep the right angle, which he's gotten on the 6, so he can draw straight back past the center of the table, pocketing the 7-ball in the side pocket.
Well, you're not going to see a Steve Miserak get many bad angles.
No.
Certainly, he's one of the time-honored position champions of this great sport.
He has a lot of grace for a big man, I know that.
You know, talking about offensive-minded straight pool, the best guy in the world to watch. I love to watch this guy play is Pat Fleming. I mean, he uses that jump cue and jumps the entire stack, pocketing balls up at the other end of the table and coming back down, breaking the stack up. And his break shots, he hits them with warp speed, and he always has a shot if he makes a break shot.
He usually doesn't leave 2 balls touching whenever he breaks the balls in straight pool.
No, he sure doesn't.
We have a 10-10 match on table 2 between Mr. Boggs and Mr. Massey. What a shot.
He's come a little farther than he wanted to, but this is still a relatively easy shot
This is a
for
straight.
Steve Miserak.
This is a straight pool break for Mr. Mizerak. He likes this particular angle to break the balls with. He warps this ball on the break shot and comes into the balls from that angle. He's taking a commanding lead at 8-5, game number 13.
You know, I think Kim's still in this match, so he might maybe pick up his pace a little bit when he does, in fact, get to come back to the table. As we alluded to earlier, I think this is more of a Steve Miserak pace match than it is a Davenport style.
Well, his last couple of times at the table, he seemed to be a little lethargic. He's usually not that way. He's usually very lively at the table. Now he looked a little bit, like I say, he looked a little lethargic at the table the last couple of times. Steve's not hit this last 3 breaks very well at all. He's taken quite a bit off of the break for some reason or another. I don't know why.
And it's worth mentioning that at times in the past, in tournaments years ago, guys would play safe on the break. That's no longer possible. It is required to drive at least 4 balls to the rail.
Right.
Now let's talk about how tough it is to come with a long, hard shot like this when you're trailing in the match, and what perfect execution there in a pressure situation.
He stayed down on the ball well. He hit the ball with the right speed, and he was rewarded for it. He's perfect position on the 2 ball.
And staying down, as we know, is almost everything in accurate shot making. All good shot making is, Sammy, is coordination of the eye, the brain, the arm.
That's exactly right. There shouldn't be any difference in an 8-foot straight-in shot as there is in a 3-foot straight-in shot. They're both the same angle exactly.
That's true. But of course, the longer distance allows for a greater margin of error too. I don't think Kim's gonna. Well, this is a little testy here. He's got a.
He may have to come below the side on this 5-ball.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go all the way over to the rail. That's exactly what he did. Now the 6 is no problem. He can really get about anywhere and pocket this 6 and maintain a slight angle to get on the 7 side.
Well, you and I never give up on the underdog. At this time, he's trailing 8-5. But as you know, that's like a World Series game where the score is the guy's behind by 3 runs, and at one crack of the bat, the game can be tied or won at that time.
Oh, sure. And certainly with the rack running capability of Kim Davenport, this match is not out of reach.
It's never out of reach. I've seen him win matches from deficits that are overwhelming. The 11, he was losing 10-2 and won a match recently.
He won a match from 10-2. That's a remarkable accomplishment.
He's been known to do such things. He ran 9 racks on a guy in Binghamton, I believe it was. Jumped on that ball a little bit, Grady. He didn't hit it as well as he'd like to have.
Well, it's
although
hard
he
to
has
stay
an
down on those balls when you're trailing. I've seen you jump so high, Sammy, I thought your head was going to hit the ceiling.
Now the score is 8-6, and game number 14 goes to Mr. Kim Davenport. Speaking of hitting your head once, I have to tell you a quick story. I was playing this guy named Steve Hines in Dallas, Texas. We were playing in a place called EJ's Lounge. We'd been playing for about 4 days, and Steve had jumped up on so many balls. He now had it. That was back in the days when we were shooting spot shots. When you scratch on the 9, he finally said, "I bet I don't stand up on this one." He proceeded to use one hand. He stood straight in the air. He shot at the 9 and missed it completely, and that was pretty much the way that whole match went.
Certainly you didn't mind that.
No, I didn't.
Okay, Kim's got a shot here.
He's got just the right edge of the ball. I think he's going to probably have to go into the 8-ball here, Grady.
Well, he's got a little problem with this. If he goes into the end rail and contacts the 8 too thickly, he's going to have a long, hard shot on the 3.
If he hits the 8 going in, I think he'll be all right coming
Well, he's
back.
not shooting the one in the left-hand corner. Sammy's doing something else here. We may see a safety. Yes. Oh, boy, what a nice shot.
Had a great shot there.
Now, there's evidence of the growing wisdom of Kim Davenport. The old Kim Davenport wouldn't have dreamed of shooting that shot.
No, he wouldn't. He would have gone into the 8-ball and took his chances on what happened to get position on the 2, and he made a great shot here. I think that's the right shot.
And why did he do that? Let's talk about that a minute, because he could execute the shot he just perpetrated there roughly 100% of the time. The cut at the 1 ball didn't afford a good possibility of position, and it's not 100% make. Now he's got a ball in hand.
This would be a much easier position to be in, ball in hand, as opposed to halfway jacked up over a ball, having to go into the 8-ball, allowing the 8-ball to determine whether or not you get position on the 2. So he made a great shot there, and I think he'll be rewarded for it.
I can't find enough superlatives to describe Kim's shot-making ability, but his increased knowledge has really helped him.
There's no question about it. Along with the great shot making, the knowledge that he's acquired over the last few years playing in the tournaments has made him the great player that he is today.
And for Steve, I'd start to be a little concerned right now. This is a big game here, and as we've talked about, as we've talked about before, every game really is a 2-game swing. 9-6 or 8-7. What a difference. It's like night and day.
Then you got to fade the break also along with that, the 9-6 and break.
Martin, Kim's longtime friend and associate, suggested that may be the biggest shot of the match.
We'll go back and look at it in case it comes up, but all these shots are big at this point in time.
That's true. And I think we're seeing a subtle change here to a Kim Davenport-paced match.
Steve looks a bit tired. The last 3 times that I've mentioned that he's broken the balls, he's hit them a little weakly. It looks to me like it. He didn't.
And it's a little tough for Kim Davenport to get up from the chair trailing 8-5. with the possibility of dark thoughts in your head. I don't think Kim has any of that. I think he's all positive thinking right now.
He doesn't think about bad things often. I know that. I've talked to Kim a lot at length on the way he thinks about pool. He thinks he's the best player in the world.
Well, all of the great players feel that way, Sammy. How can you perform to championship level if you don't think you're the best player in the world?
Well, there's one thing about him. He thinks he is the best player, and he'll bet on it.
Well, I like that. Anybody's opinion who's not backed up by a sizable wager is not fit to be contemplated seriously. And here in the booth with us is Pretty Boy Floyd, undoubtedly with more interesting observations. Pretty Boy, you won a cliffhanger tonight, 11-10 over Alan Hopkins. How do you feel right now about your chances to win this star-studded event?
Well, Nick Varner just put me into a coma. Right now I don't really quite know my name, but it's a long way to go, you know. Varner, I say Varner's definitely the favorite until someone else proves otherwise.
Well, we go back to game number 6 or 15 here now. It's 8-7 in favor of Mr. Mizerak with Kim Davenport, the aggressor, at this point.
Why don't you and Sammy and I do a tape called Saturday Morning in the Losers Bracket? I think it would be very well received. That's a pitiful feel of the, you know, people treat you like you got leprosy when you get in that losers bracket. It's a little rough. I don't understand it.
Speaking of Saturday morning, I would like to see Thursday morning.
Well, certainly it'll interrupt Billy's cartoon watching.
I can tell you, speaking of being in a coma, when Miserak beat me 11-0 the other night, I went to my room and looked at the walls, and I was hoping that something in the room would change because I thought I was in the twilight zone.
You know,
I'll tell you something, I watched that match, and you don't have nothing to feel bad about getting beaten 11-0 because I never saw you get to the table. I never saw you shoot one shot. Well, maybe one shot.
well, what about the time he beat me? He ran 150 and out on me. I'd love to see an Earl Strickland or a Buddy Hall, for an example, sit there in abject ignominy watching a guy run 150. That's the worst feeling in the world. You can't do anything. You know you're not coming back to that table.
Well, I told him I hope they were cheating me. I'd hate to think I was that bad luck.
You can't win if you can't shoot. So you sit in a chair, you have a hard time winning.
Yeah, this is going to be a great tournament. We've got some terrific players on the loser's side. Certainly Earl's got a chance to win this event from the loser's side. And Varner's winning everything in sight this year.
Well, it's amazing how with this field of play out there today, it just amazes me every time I look at the statistics on how many tournaments that he has won. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, is he that much greater a player? Is just things just happen in numbers?
Well, the guy's not only playing great pool, he's been pretty fortuitous. Just to get a good shot when it's close down at the end, that's something to be eternally thankful for. I don't know how they do it.
Well,
I go for long periods of time where I never get a shot if it's 10 apiece, 9 apiece, 10 to 9, and I don't know how they do it.
You've never been too lucky on the crap table anyway, Grady.
No, you're wrong about that. I'm a lucky crap shooter. In fact, I verge on greatness at the crap table.
Well, Kim has an opportunity at this time to tie this game up at 8-8. He has a shot at the 2 ball. If he gets position on the 4, it looks to me like this game here is all for the records. This is a speed shot. He has to hit this ball with the right speed and come back across the table.
You got to be careful of the 7 and the side pocket.
Right.
Oh, he's hit it very well.
What a nice shot. What a great performance on that shot.
And that elicited oohs and ahs from the knowledgeable audience here this week in Norfolk. And just below me is Ken Taylor, who thought he had ball in hand when in fact he didn't, and he was playing Alan Hopkins, and Alan just let him shoot the ball anyway. Pretty nice of Alan.
I just heard about that the other night. He said Alan went to the bathroom, he came back, the ball was straight in, he moved it about a half inch, and Alan just let it go. Another one of our great attributes to the sport. Alan Hopkins, a great player, all-around great player. Knows the game probably as good or better than anybody on the earth.
And we're fixing to look at an 8-8 tie, Sammy.
Well, what we all look for is 10-10 matches in the booth. They make more exciting sales.
That reminds me of when Gene Nagy was playing this Japanese gentleman at the straight pool tournament in 1965, and Jersey Red bet 300 on Gene Nagy, who ran hundreds playing straight pool. And Gene, though, he's kind of nutty. He missed a ball, so the next time at the table, and the Japanese guy only ran 2. He wasn't a very good player. And bear in mind, Red, who's tighter than old Rusty Nails, bet 300 on Gene. Gene says cross corner. He had about 6 straight-hit shots. Red went nuts and chased him out of the pool room.
Well, there's a story about Red, that. And then getting back to this game, first of all, then I'll tell you the story. Kim is now tied it up 8-8, and he looks to me like the aggressor at this point. Steve looks a little tired. It's 12 o'clock at night, and Steve's been up all day. He has early matches and then late matches. It's a little tough on him at this time, he tells me.
Well, certainly, I think you'd have to give Kim Davenport a slight edge at this point of the match. Now, Kim stopped it in the middle of the table.
But looks like he may be snookered by the 5 ball. And again, that just shows you one of the things that pool, the balls dictate a lot of times what you do instead of what you do, or what. In other words, they give you the direction which you take instead of you giving it the direction.
He's not snookered here, though, Sammy. He can see it. The only question is whether or not he can, in fact, pocket the 1 in the right-hand corner.
Well, we're going to get a referee to call this shot, which is always a good thing to do. And when you don't have one at the table, you never leave it up to your opponent to make the decision in this spot.
If he can pocket the 1, he's all right, because the cue ball will go off for the 3, but it could end up behind the 7.
A lot of things can happen.
Hide the deuce. A lot of funny things could happen here.
A lot of things can happen here. If he pockets his ball, if he doesn't hit it right, the ball can definitely come in behind the 7.
The old ones, the brown ones, are pretty good. The new black ones aren't worth a damn. I think that's a brown one. That's the one I can see.
So it's difficult to see from up here. It looks like he's got the room to hit this ball and pocket it in the corner pocket, but again, we don't know what's going to happen to the 3 ball or the cue ball at this time.
I believe he can pocket this 1, Sammy.
Yeah, I think he has room to make it, but the question is what's going to happen to the cue ball.
Well, I'll
there.
tell you what I would do with this. Bear in mind that I'm a pitiful position player. But I would hit this with just above center ball, left-hand English, and I think that the cue ball would go 2 cushions around the 7 and out for the 2 ball. And at the same time, it would contact the 3 thickly enough to move it out of the way, and I think he'll have a pretty much of a Cosmo run out.
Let's see what happens. There's the 2 choices that he's had. He's got either to hit this ball and try to keep from going behind the 7 with the cue ball, or he can hit it with a little bit firmer stroke, having the ball travel 2 rails out in front of the 7, leaving the shot at 2 ball in the same corner pocket.
He doesn't have to contact this 1 ball at a very firm speed to make that cue ball come out 2 cushions. That's a nice natural place for it to go.
Well, he's looking at it closely, so it's definitely not the easiest shot in the world.
Now, if he doesn't go 2 cushions, I think he's got a good chance of being snookered.
He did
See, I like
exactly.
the 2 cushion shot.
The 2 cushion is a much better shot. He chose to try to hit the ball with a little less speed.
Now, you notice the line his cue ball took there would have come out 2 cushions.
Would have come out naturally. But the 3 ball was traveling the same speed. He could have been snookered both ways, but he got a bad roll at this point in time.
Kim is one of the better position players out here on the tour today. That's like a straight pool or a 1 pocket shot. Doesn't come up that much playing 9 ball. Now let's see if he uses the mirror system here. That's where you take the same distance from the ball to the rail, and that's where you hit. You have a good chance to pocket the ball. I know he didn't mean to do that. I think he wanted to hit it a little more thickly and knock it over to the side rail and back on the end rail. Now he's got a little bit of a problem with this 3. I don't think he wants to play the 3-7 combination. A little tough to get underneath the 3. I think we'll see him play the cue ball between the 3 and 5. No, he didn't.
He must have had a little more of an angle on or a little more pocket on the 3 ball than what we thought. Grady, he looks like he's left himself an angle for the 4 ball here that could be.
Well, I don't think the 3 goes. He's going to play the combination. I'm surprised at that. Oh, he had room.
There's room.
Well, once again, that's why we're sitting in the booth. Both of us are half blind and partway senile.
If I'm not now, Saturday make that particular date come sooner. I'll be 40 years old.
And you guys with those thick, bushy heads of hair make me sick, too.
Yeah, Puckett said something about my bushy hair. He said about 2 more years I could use a washcloth to comb it. This is a big game for Steve here. They did 8-8, going to 9. Getting to 9 first with the break is a big advantage.
It sure is. And you have to make the guy that has a 1-game lead, in this case probably Steve Mizerak, a fairly prohibitive favorite. And the big man is playing finesse pocket billiards.
Yes, he is, and he's going to take a 9-8 lead in this 17th game. What do you think about if we were to make this game? We played this a couple of tournaments where that you have to win by 2 games. We played this in Charlotte, Mr. George Dowdy's tournament. What do you think about that, Grady?
Oh, I don't think it really makes a lot of difference, Sammy. I wouldn't mind seeing the matches increase to maybe a race to 15 or something commensurate with all the other popular sports. But to win by 2, I don't think it makes a big difference. I wouldn't mind seeing them doing like they used to do at the lowball clubs out in California, though, and that's take up a collection. You know, a guy, you get a 6-4.
For the 10-11 wins, right?
Oh, you get a 6-4 beat by a wheel, you win the pot. A lot of times you were better off to have it beat. Now here, I wouldn't mind seeing a nice collection. A guy has a 9 made against him when it's hill, maybe wins the pot. That's a disgusting way to lose.
It certainly is. Maybe that should be something. You can't win on the hill on the break.
I don't think you should ever win on the break. Who should lose among these great professional players because an opponent strikes the ball especially hard or is especially lucky on a given game?
Well, Kim has an opportunity here. The favors change here every few moments in the last 3 games of a match. The score is 9-8 in favor of Mr. Miserak, and looking at this rack, you could say now Kim is probably the favorite.
Got a little communication problem from the 6 to the 7. That's not an easy position shot.
Well, where the 5 is, I think it's pretty easy because he can just pocket the 5 in the side pocket, leaving the perfect angle to go back and forth across the table for the 7 ball.
Yeah, but back and forth has its own inherent risk. He could scratch across the side. He could scratch twice across the side. He could run into the 7. Not the easiest shot in the world. And barring the unpredictable, we've got an excellent chance of a 9-9 tie. Just exactly what this audience had hoped for, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody likes to see 10-10 matches. That's what sells tapes, and that's what keeps spectators looking. (11-1) or 11-2 matches are like first round knockouts in the big fights.
Sure. I tell you, Sammy, this is a touchy little position shot.
Yes, it is.
He's looking at it now. See, back and forth isn't the easiest shot in the world.
No, it's not. Especially, like I say, this cloth is new, and it's been slow this week, all week long, and it hasn't changed much.
See, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get an angle here and maybe go into the 7. Let's see what he does.
I can't take a chance on that because the 8 blocks the other corner pocket, Grady.
No,
He's going to have to go back and forth across the table, and I think we'll see Kim take a little extra time here to shoot this shot, and I believe he'll perform this to his utmost.
well, again, this takes a real good hit here. You can't get too much draw, too much right English. You can't have high on it, though you don't get above the 7. Real touchy little shot.
Yes, it is. I think he'll strike this with authority. Oh, he's jawed the pocket on this shot.
That was a tough shot. Really was.
A terrible break. On that shot, you have to make sure you overcut it just a little bit going down that rail. Now
I'll tell you, I hate to second guess a Kim Davenport, but I liked getting more straight in, thus affording 100% make possibility on the 6, and you go into the 7. And well, according to what exact angle he got, but anyway, Kim's such a great shot maker. I think he could have ran out from anywhere he got on the 7. He ended up getting where he couldn't hit it with any kind of authority.
Oh, Steve's hit this ball with a finesse, just like Steve's known for. He drew the ball straight back to the center of the table, leaving him perfect position on the 7 ball.
And we've noticed all through the match, Steve hits the balls with just enough speed to get the job done.
Well, that comes from his great knowledge of straight pool. He's used to, instead of using the rails, he stays in the center of the table.
He's almost belly hooked here, however.
This would be a great place for the ambidextrous players, your Buddy Halls and your Mike Siegels.
Well, that's certainly an important thing to be able to do. He's made a pretty good shot here. He's a little farther than he would like to have been from the 8 ball, but it shouldn't present too major an obstacle.
Very missable shot here this time, 9-8.
Well, if he had to hit it with any speed, so he can shoot this with just a little more than pocket speed, a touch of low left English. And he got away with somewhat of a bad hit.
Yes, he did. He didn't hit it as well as he would like to have, but he ended up perfect for the 9 ball.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Sammy. Kim would like to have that 6 ball shot back.
Yes, he would. He took a little bit off that ball. He jumped up on it as soon as he hit it. You could tell that he'd hit it badly when he let go. He knew he'd made a blunder. And unforced errors at this point in time will not get it playing against the quality player of Steve Mizerak. He takes a commanding 10-8 lead with the break.
Boy, what a difference, 9-9 or 10-8.
Yeah. We'll see if he puts a little more on this, or maybe he's checking the rack at this point. The balls may not be frozen or something rolled off from the 2 to the 4 here. I think he's going to have him mark the balls again. We'll see if he puts a little extra butt in this break. Maybe he raced into 1. He wants to get off the hill fast.
Well, he'd like it to not go any farther than this game, for sure. This would certainly be a big win for Steve at this point in his 9 ball career. Of course, it's not over with yet. Well, I think he may have to bank this. I can't see the exact angle. Maybe not.
I think he's
Oh, I guess
perfect
he's
here. If
got
the
cut.
6 ball goes on this shot, it looks to me like Steve is a big favorite to win this match.
No, he's not perfect here now. To cut this ball is not an easy shot to get position on the 2. He can't go back and forth across the table because of the lie of the 3 and 5. I think we may see him end up banking this ball. Why?
I
It's
believe
about a
you'll cut this.
90% make.
I believe he'll cut this in.
Oh, he did have room to go back and forth. Okay.
Steve
And of
is,
course, he hit that with inside English very thinly. Now he's got to play this 2 maybe in the side. Draw it back, play the 3 in the side pocket, and I think he'd like to stay a little bit this side. Oh, that's not any good.
well, he's got a little tougher shot than he'd like to have, but he can roll over to the side rail, looks to me like here, and play the 5 in this corner.
I think he's got more of a cut on it than you think, Sammy. Oh, he's all right. Nice shot.
Now this is one of those touchy little situations where you've got to get right on the 6 ball. The 7 is on the other end of the table. He's got to do something here with the ball. He can't just roll it.
I
Shoot
think
it
we'll
in.
see him hit it with a center ball, and he won't mind even if he's in close proximity to the rail because he'll have a nice shot on the 6. That's assuming he's got plenty of room to shoot the 6 in the corner, which he may not have, judging from the way he glanced at the lie of the 6 and 8.
He doesn't have plenty of room. He can horse it around. You know, he has a pocket, but he doesn't have 100% of a pocket, I don't think.
And for the uninitiated, it is possible to curve an object ball, sometimes as much as a couple of inches, astounding as that may seem.
This shot's going to be touchy. He's going to have to cut this ball.
Well, he's going to hit, I think, on the 6 ball side of the side pocket, low left English, and just come back roughly past the left-hand side pocket, unless I misjudged
I think
this
he'll
angle.
hit this with speed and come back to the side rail.
Just like that. Well, he went above the side pocket.
Look at here. We've got payday here almost.
And for Kim Davenport, suddenly he's got inspiration.
Got a new breath of life here.
Well, he figures to get back to the table here.
Sir, I think he'll.
What do you do with this, Sammy? You thin the 7, come back down the table with the cue ball. You knock the 7 2 cushions down behind the 9. He's got a couple of choices here.
I think he's probably going to try to do that. He's going to try to put some distance between the 7 and the cue ball, I promise you.
All of a certainty he'll do that. Just a question of which way he does it.
Thinning the 7 is a risky shot at this point, and I believe I would take the latter of the two choices you chose. I believe I would bank the 7, try to put it down behind the 9 ball.
Well, it's a natural angle to hit the 7 just before the side pocket. He's got a good chance to get the 7 behind the 9, and of course the cue ball will stay down roughly in the vicinity of the far end rail. Now Steve, pretty good opposite-handed. We may see him shoot this right-handed.
Whatever he does, here's a very tough shot. He's choosing to use the bridge. Nothing is 100% here. There's a lot of things that can happen. He can catch the point on this shot. The point can come back over and leave the 7 ball in the side pocket.
It's a little harder to
He
get
could just
good
roll right
speed
up
with
on
the
this
bridge,
ball, too.
Well, he hit it
Oh,
just
he
like
did
we talked about.
Absolutely perfectly. He put the ball end to end.
What do you do if you're Kim Davenport trailing 8 games to 10? This is a rough situation. This is the stuff championship pool is made of.
I think Kim, again, he's going to shoot this like it's a game ball. I think he's going to try to make this shot. Cutting, I think he's
I don't know. That's hard when you feel like if you don't make it, the game is over. Now, he's got some reasonable safeties, too. Or he could bank the ball. I don't think he's got an angle to get the cue ball behind the 8.
No, he doesn't. I think he's going to have to cut this ball in.
Oh, cutting this ball in is suicidal, even for a great shot maker like Kim Davenport. It's too low a percentage with an excellent scratch possibility. Not 100% to get on the 8 ball.
I think he's going to cut this ball in, Grady. That's my guess.
Well, he's certainly lining up like that's his intention.
What a great shot. What a great shot under these conditions. He's trailing 10-8, end to end, frozen on the end rail, and he hits a ball on at the
Sammy,
paper
I got
thin
to
edge.
say, that's one of the most courageous efforts I've ever seen in my life.
I've watched Kim play a lot of pool. I know he's not afraid of taking a hard shot.
Well, another thing to be mentioned about that particular effort, you notice he didn't blast at it. He stayed down on the ball, followed through, shot at a slow, medium speed, long distance in a pressure situation, and that about sums it up. What a great, great shot.
Oh, jumped on that shot too. He didn't hit it exactly center pocket, but the table took it. He's going to see a great match, 10-9 here.
I got to say, that's one of the best shots I ever saw in a clutch situation, Sammy.
You couldn't. There's not enough you can say about that shot. It's under crucial conditions. It's either do or die. And
let's face it, you could give you and me the rest of our lives to pocket that type of shot, and we'd be out of luck.
Well, I would have probably done like you. I would have probably tried to figure out how to put that 7 back on the other end of the table and let Steve come to the table with that end to end.
And we'd be shaking his hand for defeating us at this point.
That's
Kim
exactly
is breaking,
right.
however.
Well, it's 10-9, and Kim's breaking. If he makes a ball on a break here, we might see a new ball game.
Got to be careful not to over adrenaline and strike the balls too hard.
No jumping the table at this point. He's got an opportunity. The balls are a little rough.
Well, after that last shot, this is a proverbial hanger.
He's got to come up and down the table on this 2 ball. Hope he doesn't strike the 9 coming back down the center of the table.
Now, he's got a touchy problem with the 5 ball. Well, first of all, he needs to concern himself with the 2. Now, if he gets a little angle on the 2, should be all right, this rack. He needs to stay down, follow through like he did on that great 7 ball shot. Nice shot.
Wow, what shot? 2 great shots he's made the last 2. This last shot and the one he made on the 7 ball.
Well, if you needed a guy to come with a long, hard shot, he'd certainly be my choice.
I can't think of anybody I could have fronted him with.
And that's what makes tournament winners oftentimes, is that ability to come with a long, hard shot in the pressure situation. Now he needs to take his time and lay out a good game plan and put this game away and go to the hill game.
He's taking a little extra time here, which the great players again will do in the crucial situations. He wants to make sure he doesn't do anything crazy at this time in the match. He's got a chance. He's seen himself out of the game there for a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden he's right back in the game. He can win this one. Well, he's hit this ball a little too hard, I believe.
And for Steve Mizerak, he's going to have that 8-ball position shot a long time in his mind if he should happen to lose this match. Steve has just played a superior contest here.
Yes,
This has been a well-played match, really.
Yes, it has. I don't think they both missed maybe 2-3 balls at the top. Steve missed 2 balls, I believe, and Kim missed maybe 3 balls the whole match, and that's quite a good set. You only missed 2-3 balls, and
Did he get far enough to make this
I
ball?
think he
guess
did.
he did. He's looking at it like it's not a problem. Now, again, a touchy situation, just like the 6-ball shot he had earlier. He doesn't want to get straight in, doesn't want to come close to the side, doesn't want to hit the 7.
I don't know if he can. He's looking at this ball a little funny. He may have to follow this ball.
And he's got a reach problem with this. This is not the easiest shot in the world here.
If there ever was some crucial situations, you can say he's been in them the last 2 games.
Oh, he sure has in the last few tournaments, as a matter of fact.
See just exactly how he confronts this ball.
He didn't get quite far enough out with the cue ball. Would have been somewhat easier if he had. When you stretch for a shot, Sammy, there's a tendency not to get as much English as you'd like. Let's see Kim's left-handed stroke. I haven't seen him shoot many shots left-handed.
Neither have I. It looks like the time for the bridge here to me.
I think you're going to see him change his mind. I don't think he's going to like shooting this pressure shot left-handed.
Maybe he'll follow the ball and come down underneath the 9, shooting the. No, he's going to get the bridge. I think this is the right shot here, the bridge.
Well,
you gotta be able-
again,
I don't like the way he's handling the bridge.
I think he's all right. I like the stroke he's hitting this with. Just watch out for the side pocket.
What a great shot. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, again, Kim has come with a shot that is, under these
He's got
conditions
ice water veins, Sammy. I couldn't have gone below that side there.
I'd have had to come back, but
You couldn't have put a gun on me and made me do that. And I'll tell you what we're looking at. We're looking at a 10-10 contest, and one that's been exceptionally well played on the part of both contestants.
they sure have. This is probably one of the best matches I've seen in the tournament at this point. Matter of fact, I'd have to say this is the best match, 10-10, and they're both taking the lead several different times.
And this is a match where I think no matter what happens in the 21st game, I think you could accurately say that there are no losers. It's just really been a terrific match.
10-10 as Kim takes the number 20 game that ties it up here, and well, you'd have to make him a definite favorite at this point. He's racing to 1, and he's got the break, and we just hope again, like we said, we hope the ball doesn't go on a break. We don't want to see a great match like this ended with 1 strike of the balls.
Well, certainly that's not Kim's sentiment. He wouldn't mind at all making it on the snap.
Do you think is this like one of the tennis players when they've already had one fault? Do you think he's going to take a little off of this particular break, or do you think he's going to put a
Well,
little
I
on
would,
it?
Sammy, because if you scratch or knock the cue ball off the table, you figure to lose. Certainly you're a decided underdog. Now, if he keeps the cue ball on the table and doesn't scratch, a lot of possibilities exist. Even if he were not to pocket a ball, he could snooker Steve, the balls could get tied up, and what we talked about actually came to pass. It's so hard not to hit it with that extra speed, trying to go ahead and get the match over with. Steve made a little joke to the audience at hand. He'd like to have a shot at the 9.
Well, I don't know if the one ball looks like it may be. He's going to have to run 9 balls here. It looks like the one ball probably has to be spotted, and this is a shot that the pool players don't like to shoot anymore because of the one ball or 1 foul ball in hand rule. You almost never shoot a spot shot anymore.
And running 9 balls when it's 10-10 is almost like running 300 playing straight pool or scaling Mount Everest or whipping Mike Tyson.
I think he's probably going to see a safety plate here, Mr. Miserak. I think he's going to shoot this one ball and put it down by the 9 and put the cue ball behind the 6.
Well, if the 1 goes in the corner, I see no reason for him to play safe. The 3-7 combination is on. It must not go in the corner.
Even if it does, he's got his opponent on 1 foul right now. I think he's going to put this cue ball behind the 6 ball and try to put the 1 ball possibly down by the 9 or get it in play where he can play easy position to the 2 ball.
I don't like putting it by the 9, Sammy, because if perchance the 1 should line up dead on the 9, Kim would in fact have an excellent chance to kick it in and win the set.
I like exactly what he did. He's going to take a shot. If he gets ball in hand here, you can rest assured he's going to take a shot at the 1-9.
Well, what do you do for Kim Davenport from here?
What did you say?
What do you do if you're Kim Davenport here? I think you got to take a kick at this ball, huh?
You have no choice. He finds himself. I don't think he can even jump this ball. He's in a very tough position here again.
He sure is.
This is a little tougher than the last 2 positions he's been in. At least he could hit the ball.
And I think Steve made a pretty good decision there. Certainly he's got to be the favorite with this particular lay of the balls.
Well, he may talk louder, Grady.
I said certainly Steve has to be the favorite with this particular lay of the balls. I think he made a good decision in playing safe. Now Kim's going to try to massay this. The danger of this shot and go to the rail. The danger of this shot is you can get so much on it you overdo it and actually go around the 1.
You sure can, because he's going to have to come at a funny angle coming down there for this massé. Looks like he might be trying to jump this shot. If he can jump it, that's the right shot.
All right, Kim, don't let little things bother you. Don't look for an excuse to lose. Put that out of your mind.
I wonder what the right thing is to do here. There certainly probably is a right thing. I just wonder if there is a right thing, what it is at this time.
Well, what's dangerous? Martin suggested kicking off the short rail. What's bad about that? If let's say he happened to overcut the 1, it could go right over on the 9 ball. If he doesn't hit it, he's got problems. I think he might try a straight massé, hard as it may seem.
The problem here is hitting this ball. Even if you do hit it, is it hit it hard enough to get it to a rail from that massé? It's going to be coming like a bowling ball into.
Well, he needs to shoot this easy. I don't think he wants to hit this with speed. The secret to accurate massé, insofar as that's even possible, is to shoot easy. Nice shot.
What a great shot! What a great shot he's got. Again, he's been faced with 3 shots in these last 2 games that, like you said, you and I would have probably fainted on, and he's performed them perfectly. What a great shot.
You got to give Kim credit. If he does in fact win this match, it's certainly because he deserved it. He sure has. He's made some great shots.
He looks like a gladiator out there at this time. He's fought it for his life the last 3 games. He was trailing the match 10-8, and he never looked like once he gave up on any shots.
Well, if I were Steve Miserak at this point, I would be tickled to death that I can see the 1 and I'm close to it. Now, Steve, being a great safety player, I think will find something intelligent to do with this shot. Maybe he'll hit the 1 into the 8 and try to leave the 1 roughly right there on the rail and put the cue ball back behind the 4. He's got a number of possibilities here.
Do you think there's a possibility he might bank at this 1 cross side here?
He could, but I don't like that, Sammy, because you got scratch possibilities. A 2 isn't lying in a very favorable position. I don't think that's a real good selection.
What if you shoot the 1 into the 8 and try to control the cue ball to put it back below the ball in the center of the table, which is, I guess, the 4 ball?
Yeah, right. That's what I suspected he might do.
Okay. That's the shot that Mr. Mizerak chose to shoot. Now, again, we've got Kim coming faced with a shot that's there's unsurmountable odds against this particular shot. He's in the center of the table with the 1 ball. The cue ball is almost at in rail distance. He's going to have to come with that shot again.
I think we're going to see Kim thin this 1 ball and make the cue ball come back between the 2 and 4. I don't see any reasonable way he can go for this 1. Oh, he's looking at banking it straight back. That's hazardous because of the chance of leaving a billiard or a combination on the 9.
He's probably going to try to put this cue ball behind the 6 ball. I think he's trying to control the cue ball here, cut this 1 just a little bit.
Maybe he won't shoot it hard enough to reach this other end rail. Certainly I wouldn't.
I think he's going to try to put the cue ball behind the 6 here.
This is a touchy shot, real tough.
That's exactly what he did. What a great shot he's made again. He's perfect speed. Now he has Mr. Mizerak's back against the wall. He's faced with a shot where he's probably going to have to jump these balls, I think.
We may see a two-rail kick on the part of Steve Miserak here. The problem with that is that if he hits the bottom side of the 1, the cue ball figures to go into the 3 and 7, he could still out.
I think he's going to jump the ball here. He has one of those cues that has been so often seen in tournaments lately. This is the short cue, which...
I don't think he needs that here, Sammy. I believe
yeah, he does. He's going to use the short cue, I promise you.
Well, certainly he'll get enough elevation, but he's got some distance to get over this 5 and 8, and it could be a problem keeping the cue ball on the table.
He hits the shot well. It's just a matter of what happens to the 1 ball. I think he's probably just going to try to stop his ball here.
And rather simplistic though it may be, certainly if you hit the object ball and don't scratch, you don't give your opponent ball in hand.
That's exactly right.
Especially in a situation like this. Nice shot.
Oh, what a shot. He's jumped the ball and banked it. Speaking of great shots, that certainly has to go down in the record books there. He jumped 2 balls out of the center of the table, banked the ball, back straight in the corner pocket, and left in perfect position on the 2 ball.
This is one of the best matches I've ever seen. These guys keep coming with these gut-wrenching shots, and it still remains to be seen. I think he's got an angle to get behind this 3 and 7, and if he does, this match is still problematic because of the lie of the 5 ball.
That's exactly right. If the 5 at this point doesn't look like it has a pocket, and maybe the one side pocket is open, and that's all. He's gone from the 2 to the 3 and with the greatest of ease. He's straight in on the 3-7. He can do just about anything he wants to with this shot.
And once again, the jump cue plays an important role, possibly in the outcome of an exciting match.
It's just one more exciting shot to add to this great match. We've seen everything. We've seen long rail banks. We've seen Kim come with kick shots, masses, great cut shots. Everything that could be possibly mentioned in one match has happened here.
And we've seen a lot of courage on the part of both players. No matter who wins this, the loser has nothing to be ashamed of.
We can honestly say that this will be one
Steve
match.
has us and about 20 other people snookered. Okay, now we can see. I wanted to see if he had an angle to, in fact, break out to 5-8, but he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's not thinking about that. I think the only pocket he has open is a 5 in the side pocket where the 3 lies, and it's very small there.
Well, he does have a nice angle on the 3 to get about where he wants on the 4. He can either go into him, he can play to pocket the 4 and play a safety the next shot, but I don't think at this point he's thinking safety at all. He's thinking run out, win this match, and continue on undefeated.
Well, he's definitely... 3 ball here is a little bit straight to move the cue ball to any degree here, Grady. He can move it backwards, but I don't think he can move it to either side very easily. He's going to have to put this ball where he wants to at that same distance. He can't get any closer to the 4 than what he is right now.
You could hear a pin drop in this crowded room right now, Sammy. Everybody expectant, waiting to see what kind of miraculous perpetration will occur next.
You can say one thing, it's so quiet you could hear a mouse pee on a cotton ball.
And Sammy, again, with one of his amusing anecdotes, drew laughter from the knowledgeable onlookers. Gee, I don't like where he got here, Sammy.
He didn't have a choice there. That 3 was straight. It was looking from my angle. The 3 was straight. He didn't have much of a pocket to move the ball around at all.
He wanted a little more angle, I think. Of course, maybe he's got a little more of an angle than we can tell from here.
He's come into the 5, Steve. Look at this. We don't have a final here yet, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not looking at the 3-ball combo. That might be on. I think he's looking at putting Kim behind the 6 and 8.
We're definitely going to see Kim come to the table again on this match.
Well, he's
anyway.
going to nudge the 5 down towards the 8, and if he hits this with the right speed, Kim's got problems.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, he don't even have a rail to kick to from the right side. He's got if he hits this ball, though, I'll tell you one thing. The 8 ball could really easily be dead at this point.
Well, he's got a chance to make the 8 or the 5. If he can hit this 5 square, I can't tell for sure. It's hard to see from this vantage point, but I think the 8 might go off to 6. He's got a chance to make the 5 in the right-hand corner. But this shot is incredibly difficult because either side of the 5 he hits, he risks scratching.
Exactly. If he hits the 5, it looks to me like the 8's dead, though. But again, you say either side of the 5 he can scratch. There's a lot of things that can happen here.
And one of the viewers has suggested that this is a tough match to play from the stands, and I can't but agree with him.
I think he's going to hit this with speed.
Well, certainly. And here we go. What a great match.
Wow. Take that extra time, Kim. Breathe. If
For,
I was in this position, you know what I think I would do?
Well, sure, Sammy, you'd concede the match.
I would try to do like Jerry Howard. I'd try to settle.
Now, for aspiring pool players who might want to learn how to kick well, whatever angle a cue ball goes in at, it will always exit from the same angle, provided it's hit with no English and medium speed. I think he's going to hit the 5 square. I hope that he doesn't scratch.
God, what a shot. What a shot. What a shot. What a shot. God, what a shot. He hit that ball as perfectly as he could have if he placed it with his hand. What a great shot. It's 3 great shots we've seen in the last 3 games by Kim Davenport. He sat and looked at that ball for...
Well, in the limited experience of these commentators, this is the most exciting match we've ever seen.
I can't imagine how it could be any more exciting. We've seen everything. We've seen banks, we've seen jumps, we've seen cuts, we've seen kicks.
And certainly, if Kim culminates this relatively easy 2-ball run out, he'll bring the house down.
I think we'll probably see a standing ovation here for both players at this time if right after this 2 balls are pocketed.
And you notice he made sure he didn't get within 3 feet of the corner pocket. I can't say as I blame him.
All he has to do is to stay down on this ball and follow through, make sure he hits the ball
This
first.
has been one of the most gutsy performances on the part of both players I've
What a
ever
great
seen.
match by Kim Davenport. What a great match by Kim Davenport and Steve Mizerak. There's nothing else you can say about this match.
Let's take a minute, Sammy, and put ourselves in the place of a Steve Mizerak. Gee, I know he's got to be feeling badly here. He's just played so well and fell just a hair short.
Well, this is one of those matches where the last 2 rounds of the balls just wouldn't let him get out there. The 5 ball got tied up. He did his best to get position. He went into the 5 and froze on top of the ball. It looked like if he hit the 5 from anywhere, he was going to get a shot. And he did just exactly that, and he went on top of the ball and he froze to it.
Well, we talked about it. He didn't get enough angle on that shot, which means because of being relatively straight in, he didn't get the cue ball speed he wanted on it, which he didn't break the balls out right. He didn't get the angle he wanted. I know he didn't want to be that straight in on the 4 ball.
No, but had he tried to get below the ball, he was going to be closer to the lower side rail where he would maybe not had a chance to draw that ball like that.
And of course, only a Steve Mizerak could tell us whether in fact he meant to get below it, and Kim Davenport's making his way up here to the podium right now. Kim, I got to tell you, in our estimation, that was one of the greatest matches we've ever seen. You showed the most incredible courage and calmness in the face of adversity that we've ever seen. You made 3 of the most difficult shots. I know you got to be proud of your performance there.
Well, I'm very proud there. I'll tell you, I knew I had a chance here to make it 9-9, and I jarred that 6 ball, and I was just praying that I could get back to the table one more time and make up for that mistake, and it happened. I got up there and...
Well, the 6 was a little toughish. I mean, the shot under those conditions was very tough, and then, of course, after that particular shot, you came back with the 7 ball, which was an unbelievable shot in those conditions. You stayed down, you followed through, you pocketed the ball perfectly, and you were rewarded for it. It's just a shame that a match like this comes down to this, the 10 to 10. One person has to lose, and it wasn't any losers. And that Steve played a great match, and so did you. But as Grady said, I think this was the greatest match we've seen.
Well, go ahead, Kim.
I think that the match that me and Steve just played was a very well played match. Both of us played good, and the balls on the break kept going back and forth. Sometimes we'd make some, sometimes we wouldn't. But
well, I saw the difficulty of that 6-ball position shot. If you put too much low on it, too much right, you go in the side, right? You could go 2 in the side. Well, you could hit the 7. That was a tough, touchy position shot.
To be truthful about it, I got a little distracted on the side there with somebody talking. I mean, usually I raise up 95% of the time now. But I went ahead and went through with it. Not to blame it on nobody, but sometimes those things.
That
do happen.
7-ball shot, to stay down on the ball and follow through in a pressure situation like that, I think you've got a memory that will last you a lifetime, and you should really be proud of yourself.
Thank you, Greg.
What was going through your mind at the time you were shooting at the 7? Did it ever enter your mind to play safe at that shot, or just exactly what was going on in your mind at that time?
Well, actually, I was really playing safe. I was playing not safe, but I mean, I was playing to make the ball. But if I missed the ball, you notice I overcut it and it went on the other side of the pocket. So I always want to try to overcut the ball on a shot like that. So if I did happen to miss it, I would come to the rail and come back with a safe.
Listen, you're going to make me and Sammy ill talking about overcutting a very thin cut from 9 feet. Don't do that to us. No, you played a great match.
Well, like again, we can say this was the greatest match we've seen of this particular tournament, and possibly one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. And I think Mr. Mathews will agree with that.
Yes, I was excited the whole time. We always thought you were still in the match, even when you were down. We felt that early in the match maybe it was a Steve Mizerak paced match, and we made note of the fact that maybe 2/3 of the way through, the tempo changed more to Kim Davenport's liking. At least that's the way we saw it.
Yeah, well, I just know that, like I told you earlier when I played my other match, that I know that I can win from anywhere, so I just stayed down and try not to get mad, and I got my shots and I made them, so I wound up winning the match.
Well, you look like a line coming out of a cage when he got out of line on that 7-ball, and you came to the table with that end-to-end shot. You didn't look like you didn't ever put any fear in you at all. You came with that long shot, and then the 8-ball was a tough shot. You came with that and tied the game at 10-10.
You keep talking about the 7. Was it really that difficult? Maybe I don't remember the shot. Was it?
Oh, it was tough, Kim. The ball was maybe 2 feet over, maybe 2.5 inches off the rail, and you're frozen roughly on the end rail, and you cut it in. That was a very difficult shot.
He was ahead 10-8 at that time, and he elected on the 6-ball to try to draw back deep on the ball instead of playing it safe to the side rail, and he got almost frozen to the 7 when he had to put you on. He left the shot. The 7 was about 6 inches off of this lower rail, end rail. And the cue ball was pretty close to frozen on the other end rail.
I got to say something about Kim's remarkable new ability at kicking balls. Now, on that, for the layman, maybe he won't understand what you did on that 5-8 combination. As a professional, I saw that you hit the ball at exactly the right speed because you got a scratch possibility on both sides of it. And your kicking has just improved to the point where you're going to hit 95% of your kicks. And I can't overcredit you with the great poise you showed in that match.
Well, on that particular shot, I made sure to shoot the shot, and I had to hit it on the right side. If I don't hit it on the right side of the ball, I'm not going to make it. I mean, it wasn't wired, but I had to hit it on the right side to come down. If I hit it on the inside, I could have went off and scratched or anything. So I figured if I, just aim it there, and if it goes, it was a.
It's a shame that this match wasn't on national TV. My gosh, you talk about something would do the sport some good. That's as great a match as I've ever seen, and I've seen some good ones.
Again, we got Kim Davenport here in the booth with us, trying to get his views on exactly what happened in that match, and he certainly expressed his views of what happened. He felt it's one of the best matches he's played, and he was rewarded for it. So,
Sammy, in my view, bearing in mind Kim just came off a nice win in Greensboro, and looking at this great match, I think you'd have to make him the favorite to win the tournament from this point.
Well, he's number 2 on your program and number 1 in your hearts right now at this particular point.
After that match, he sure is.
As we've expressed throughout this match, you seem to have a following of people wherever you go to play pool with your vivacious personality. You're lively all the time. You never meet an enemy or anything like that. And I think that's a great credit to this sport.
Well, thank you very much, Sammy. I've tried, in pool, reputation is really everything, so I try to keep it above board if I can. I mean, not saying I don't get out of line sometimes, but.
Well, I thank you, and I know Sammy does too, for presenting us with one of the most courageous performances we've ever been privileged to witness, and we look forward to watching your continued progress in this star-studded event.
Well, I thank both of you immensely for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Davenport.
And Sammy, again, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Again,
despite that ridiculous doggerel which continuously emits your lips. And shall we call it a wrap?
I certainly say good night from
It's been a pleasure.
ACCUSTATS Incorporated.